the most basic question. How excited are you to be taking on this role?
Yeah, very excited. This has kind of long been something I've had my eye on since I moved to Buffalo 30 years ago. So I probably waited a lot longer than maybe the 22-year-old me thought I would, but uh, great things are worth waiting for, and this is a great thing.
This is to us, this is the most important franchise in sports, a storied franchise. You're only the third play-by-play radio announcer for the Buffalo Bills. That's pretty stunning. I mean, the team's been around a long time.
Yeah, and I was fortunate enough to know and work with both Van Miller and John Murphy. My first year on the Bills radio network as a pregame host was Van's last year calling games. And then I've worked with John Murphy for 20 years. I mean, he's a colleague and a friend. And I learned a lot from those two men. So I know what the standard looks like. And now it's my job to kind of uphold that standard going forward here.
What is it like to be in the booth on a Sunday, or these days on a Sunday or a Thursday or
Yeah.
whatever other day, calling Bills games?
Well, it's hard to match the energy of game day. And, even when I was doing more of the written journalism work on BuffaloBills.com, people would always ask me, what's the best part of your job? I will always answer unequivocally game day, because you cannot match the level of competition that you witness, the energy in the stadium. And that really is the quintessential part of this job now as play by play broadcaster. You're literally on when the game is going on. So you've got to bring it just as much as the players are bringing it on the field.
One of the things I always tell people about just being in news in Buffalo is that it's such a great place to be in broadcasting, because people here watch the news. And it's similar to what you're doing. People here consume anything related to the
Right.
Bills, especially on those game days. How special is that to be doing this in a place where the work that you're doing is being watched and listened to and consumed?
Yeah, the Bills are kind of the thing around here. I think we all know that. And, you know, my broadcast partner, Steve Tasker, who I do a radio show with, often says, we suffer from Bills myopia. But I think, and that's kind of a good thing. I view that as a positive, because people do care that much. And it's important to everybody. But I think more importantly, it makes the Western New York community a big family, because we're all pulling for the same team. And I felt that today, just on social media, with all the well wishes from Bills fans and Bills Mafia. I was really touched by it. It was totally unexpected, but having been in this Western New York community long enough, I probably should have expected it, because it was just, the outpouring was overwhelming. It really touched my heart. So I felt a part of that family that I talked about today.
And on 716 Day, which is special
Yeah.
to everybody around here. What is the most difficult part of the job and your favorite part of the job?
It's funny, because I was talking about this today with one of my colleagues. The most difficult part of the job is probably the preseason, because the rosters are twice the size of what they are in the regular season. So, and this is just my process. It's not everybody's process, but I like to memorize the players on both rosters and their jersey numbers. It just allows me to call a smoother game, because I don't have to look down at my cards. I know who they are in my brain, and I can just call a smoother broadcast. In the preseason, I got to know 180 names, not 106. So preseason is often more of a challenge, because there's more I've got to cram into my head for a given game.
I mean, it's always, or has always been, a privilege, I'm sure, to be the radio announcer for the Buffalo Bills. But you're getting to do it at a time when the team is, at a very high level. How special does that make it?
Yeah, the timing is fortunate for me, of course, because I've only done the games filling in for Murph for the better part of a year plus, and I've already called 4 playoff games. And Murph did it for 20 years and probably didn't call too many more than that. So I know how fortunate I am with the timing of this announcement for me calling the Bills, because they are threatening to be the AFC representative in the Super Bowl every year. I haven't gotten there yet, but I don't think there's any question that they're going to be in the running for a long time.
Yeah, let me in with just a couple of sports questions. I mean, we're just, a couple weeks out from training camp. What are the storylines that you're following most closely as you prepare for all?
Yeah, I think it would be hard not to want to keep a close eye and evaluate how good Von Miller looks now, another year removed from major knee surgery. Is he back to being the pass rusher that I think the Bills had in mind when they signed him to that giant contract? Matt Milano, much the same vein. How does he look after a very long offseason rehabilitation from a knee injury or a leg injury suffered in week 5 last season? Those are the primetime players you're keeping an eye on. And then obviously the receiver position is going to be under the microscope, knowing Khalil Shakir is the only player on the roster at the receiver position who caught a pass from Josh Allen in a regular season game last year. There has been unusually large turnover at that position. So seeing where all the pieces are going to fit there is going to be of major interest to fans and the media.
How good, but let me rephrase that. How good is this team potentially this season?
Yeah, I think that's the unknown. And I think that's why some Bills fans kind of worry a little bit because they don't know. They don't have the familiar names they're used to seeing, like Jordan Poyer and Tre'Davious White and Micah Hyde, guys that are proven players on this roster who have helped this team win a lot of games. Those players are not here anymore. So the players filling that void have time in this league, have had success in this league. I mean, Mike Edwards, who's a safety they signed in free agency, went all the way to the Super Bowl last year with the Chiefs. So, yes, they have younger players on the roster, and they may have to lean on a couple of them more than they have in the past. That may require a little bit of a learning curve. But I think the core of the team is still very good. And if you can fill in some of the pieces around them, this team has a chance to be every bit as good, if not better, than the team we saw last year, maybe come November and December, provided they can stay healthy.
Finally, in light of this announcement today, what would be your message to Bills Mafia and the people who listen to you out there every Sunday or Thursday or whatever day the game is?
Yeah, I just think it's that I'm fully committed to kind of upholding the standard that Van Miller and John Murphy set. I want it to be an entertaining and exciting broadcast for all Bills fans. And as we say, keep the faith, believe that this team is good enough. They just got to catch a couple of breaks. And, maybe they get to a place where maybe many aren't expecting them to be in light of the turnover they experienced this offseason. Go Bills.